12th of December, difficulty hard. Terry. Anna is one of the two innocents in the corners. So, ooh. No. Let's. So one of those is an innocent. Both criminals in row 1 are connected, which means he's got to be a criminal. Hang on, yes. Wait, no. Criminals. Stupid. Right. So that's gonna. So, either them two or them two. So we know Chloe's a criminal. An odd number of innocents on the edges neighbour me. So, an odd number of innocents. So, it's either 1 or 3. Okay. Yes. So it's either 1 or 3. Ooh. It's got to be 1 because one of these is a criminal. One of these is red. Yeah. So, only one of Chloe's neighbours is well, we know one of those are, so he's got to be innocent. Huh? What? No, he's got to be a criminal. For God's sake, come on, focus. Right, there are exactly 3 innocents in column D. Well, could be an innocent, and then one of those 2. So look, all of these could be an innocent. It can't be both of those. It absolutely can't. It can't be that and that. So Nancy's got to be an innocent. And then one of those 2. Gabe has more innocent neighbours than Zoe. Gabe. And where's Zoe? Well, at the moment, they've both got 1 innocent neighbour. Both criminals in row 1 are connected. Yeah, fine. Gabe has more innocent neighbours than Zoe, and there is one of 2 innocents in the corner. Well, if he was red, he'd be green. Yeah? Which means he'd be green, which means she'd be red. However, if he was red, he'd be green. So, ooh, in both scenarios, Uma is red. Let's just go over that again. So, if Brian's the criminal, Daniel's innocent, which means Zoe's a criminal, which means Uma's a criminal. Fine. Is there a world in which Brian's innocent, which means Daniel's a criminal, which means Zoe's innocent, which means Uma's red. Yep, cool. Only one of the 2 neighbours only one of the 2 innocents neighbouring Chloe Where's Chloe? Where's Chloe? There's Chloe. Well, no, one of the two innocents neighbouring Chloe is Hal's neighbour. So, wait, what? Only one of the two innocents neighbouring. Well, all of Chloe's neighbours are Hal's neighbours, which means Hal's got to be innocent. And then it means, well, look, and we know one of those is innocent, which means Gabe's got to be a criminal. Cool. Okay. There are more criminals in column B than in column D. Well, there's two. There's two in column D, so there's going to be three in column B. Okay. Right, we know that. Okay, and it's one of the two innocents in the corners. Ooh, hang on. Ah. Oh yeah. Right. So there's three, which means like there's got to be at least 4 criminals in column B. Gabe, at the moment he's got 2 innocent neighbours. So he's got 1. An odd number of innocent, yeah, so we know one of those. So it's either 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, okay, cool. So then it's one of these two. Right, Uma and Brian have an equal number of criminal. Only one row has exactly 2 innocents. Well, we haven't found that row yet. We haven't found that row yet. Okay. Uma and Brian. So Uma is there. Have an equal number. And Brian's there. Have an innocent number of criminal neighbours. So far Brian's got 2 criminal neighbours. At least. So Uma's got to got to have 2. Potentially. So, right, okay. There are more criminals in column B than column D. Gabe has more innocent neighbours than Zoe. Who's got to have at least... Well... There are more criminals. Anna is... Hang on. Only one row has exactly 2 innocents. Oh, it's got to be that one then. So it could be more, could be less. So we know. Right, cool. Oh, that's a stupid clue. Right. Can we do anything else? It says. Oh. So Gabe. I see Gabe has more innocent neighbours than Zoe. So at the moment, Gabe's got 1, 2. Can't say for sure yet. Can't say for sure yet. Both criminals in row 1 are connected. Only one row has exactly 2 innocents, which is that one. So these either have 3 or 1. Well, if that can't be a possibility. That can't be a possibility because you can't. Those can't be both innocent. So if he's red, one of those must be an innocent. Let's say he's red. He's red. So he'd be green. So he'd be red. So he'd be green. That works. However, if he's red, he has to be green. So he'd be green. And he'd be red. Definitely. Oh, okay. Mm. So if Zena's green, I suppose. No, that cannot be a possibility unless. Yeah, that could work, couldn't it? That could work. No. One of these has got to be innocent. So both of those can't be innocent. Right. If he's innocent, he's got to be a criminal. Which means he's got to be a criminal. Which means she's got to be innocent. Which means Zena could be a criminal. Okay. So in that configuration, Zena could be a criminal. If Brian's red, that's got to be green. That's got to be green. Which means that's got to be red. Which means that's got to be red. So Zena's does right. We can't make Zena. So if Zena's innocent, either these two have both got to be criminals. That doesn't work because these can't both be. Right. So therefore, if Zena's innocent, these two have to be innocent, which means no, so Zena has got to be a criminal. What? Huh. Right. Okay. Could these both be innocents? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Okay. So far, sure. Could they all be innocent? Ooh, okay. Where's Brian? An evil. Ah, okay, right. Brian's already got 3 criminal neighbours. Right. Let's dull that. Right. So, if okay, I get it. So if Brian could be a criminal, which means Daniel could be innocent, which would mean Zoe's got to be a criminal, which means Xena will be innocent. Yeah, okay, right, fine. Yes, yes. Yeah, okay. But also at this point, if that could also be true, which probably not, but it could be. It could be. Right. Okay. Each row has at least 2 criminals. Yeah. Fine. It doesn't really help, but unless Gabe has more innocent neighbours than Zoe. So far, Gabe's got only 1 row has exactly 2 innocents, and that's okay. Ah, so Scott's got to be a criminal. So that's a shit clue. So one of these is innocent and one of these is a criminal. Yep. One of these is innocent, one of these is a criminal. So let's work it out. Ah, okay, so Zoe's got 2 innocent neighbours. No, not necessarily. Right, so one of those is a criminal. Hang on. One of those is definitely a criminal, yeah? But if one is, the other one's got to be. Because, yes. Right. At least 2 criminals. Sure. There are exactly 3 innocents in column to sure. There are more columns. Yeah. Both criminals in row. There's 1 and 2 innocents in the corner. Only 1 row has. Yeah, fine. An odd number. Okay, let's clear some tags. If he's red, he's green, which means she's red. Which means... Is that right? Right. If he's innocent, he's red. She's red. Could she be red? There's nothing that says that every row has an innocent. Is that right? Three innocents in column D. So if that's innocent, that's red. However, if that's innocent, that's red. That's green. That's red. Yeah. But that can't be true because Gabe needs an innocent. Because Gabe would need one more innocent neighbour. Yeah? So if we assume Zoe's got... So... Yeah, that can't be true. That can. And that just could be either. So... If he was innocent, he'd have to be red. If he was red, he'd have to be green. And he'd have to be red. As would... If he's the innocent, he's the criminal. Which means... Zoe's a criminal. Which means... You right? Yeah. We still don't know about Xena. However, if he's the innocent, he's the criminal. Right, if Xena was innocent, Zoe would have to be a criminal, which means Daniel would have to be innocent, which means Brian would have to be. Right. That's not possible. Because then Zoe's got two innocent neighbours and Gabe's got two innocent neighbours. So Xena absolutely cannot be an innocent. Right. Scott and Chloe have an equal number of innocent neighbours. So Scott has one. Where's Chloe? Chloe definitely has two. So Scott definitely has two. Criminal, innocent, criminal. There we go. That was tough. 3 mistakes. Okay. Worse than yesterday. 27 minutes.